can work out what helicopters are doing, and so they're a great weapon for Gaddafi potentially. Plus, they're very effective in the air-to-ground role, very precise. So that's going to be the key challenge.
And how would you meet that challenge?
It's a difficult one, and again, we struggled with it previously.
In Iraq?
Yep, in Iraq especially, and a big mistake that was made in 1991 was allowing Saddam's forces to carry on flying helicopters in the south, as a humanitarian option, and they used that as an option to fly gunships legally, technically, and outside the rules of engagement. And the same in Bosnia. I mean, you had to identify a helicopter precisely. You could order it to land. Well, of course, it would land, and once the jets had gone away, it would take off and carry on its mission. So, very, very difficult thing to tackle. On top of all the other layers of complexity about actually trying to engage in that area at all, and the whole issue of inevitable collateral casualties, trying to take down the Libyan air defence network and things like that.
Now, Gaddafi has already been using helicopters, hasn't he?
Yes.
And is using helicopters. He's also using jets to bomb installations. So, if the UN agrees to a no-fly zone, who then enforces it? Is it Arab countries? Is it the West? Is it America?
Well, technically everyone, if it's the UN mandate. But I think the states, in a way, are quite keen, or the mood of the states is quite keen to stay away from this being a US
That's
operation.
the mood I pick up as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, the legacy of 1986, of course, is strong in Libya, and we saw Gaddafi, about 10, 11 days ago, making his big speech in front of the building that was bombed, and the statue that everyone's commented on of the aircraft clenched in the fist. And this is the 25th anniversary in April of that operation as well, so in huge resonance. Plus then, linked to coalition air campaigns in Afghanistan and Iraq, which have been controversial. You can see, the real complexity around that, especially for a US operation. Now, having said which, the US have the force, they have the bases, the capability, by far the most advanced. So it's inevitable they'll lead it, I suspect.
What about support, that question at the beginning, in the Arab world? Is there a lot of support for a no-fly zone?
It's mixed, isn't it, really? I mean, the Libyan rebels themselves have said, on the whole, and they're a fractured bunch as far as we understand, but on the whole, they seem to be very much calling for support for a no-fly zone. Some even saying, we don't want a UN resolution, we just want it now, get rid of these aircraft. Now, I think that plays out into the wider Arab world. But the problem with that, of course, is the US influence once more. Another Western crusader air campaign, as it could be portrayed, inevitable casualties on the ground. It plays to Gaddafi's core constituency. And it plays, to other people in the Arab world who want to portray things in a negative light.
All right, Justin, we're going to leave it there. Justin Crump, many thanks for joining us here in London. And from me in London, it's time to rejoin Shuli in Doha.
Stephen, thanks very much indeed for that. We're getting some news coming out of Libya on those Libyan planes, which we mentioned earlier. To get the very latest, let's speak to our correspondent, Carl Stanier-Navarra, a journalist who's based in Malta. Carl, apparently you've got some more information about the 3 planes that took off from Tripoli earlier.
Yes, basically, surely, this is becoming more apparent of a diplomatic blitz by Gaddafi with messages intended to the main key players in all this issue. So therefore, we've had a plane which has gone to Cairo with a message of Gaddafi to the Arab League and the Egyptian Military Council. And now we have evidence of another message, this time being relayed to the European Union and NATO. We have information, obviously still to be confirmed, but the suggestions are quite strong with regards to one of the planes actually landing in Malta with a delegation from Gaddafi's regime and having meetings with senior Maltese government officials. We have this information confirmed. However, the Maltese government is keeping very tight-lipped about this meeting. The plane, however, has taken off again and proceeded with the same delegation to Lisbon in Portugal, perhaps for another meeting with the government in Portugal. Now, we have to understand that within these hours, there is an important meeting being held in Brussels with regards to foreign ministers from NATO member states and also foreign ministers from the European Union ahead of the European Union heads of government meeting to be held on Friday in Brussels as well. Now, Malta has always professed itself to be a main mouthpiece for North African issues on the EU table, and it is more than probable that Gaddafi Gaddafi has now tried to use the Maltese government to relay this message to the European Union. Now, with regards to NATO, Malta has made it clear yesterday that it will not accept any military intervention from its soil, being a neutral country in the Mediterranean, and it has also gone on record to state to all member states to knock on other people's doors. Could mean that Gaddafi has taken note of this declaration and used this to convey his message to Malta and forward it to the European Union.
That's amazing if that is the case, that these planes are carrying diplomatic delegations to various countries, because Gaddafi has been so scathing and insulting about outside forces, as he calls them, since these protests began.
Well, you have to take this into context that late last night there was an unexpected phone call by Gaddafi himself to the Greek Prime Minister, George Papandreou. Now, Papandreou is known to be quite close to Gaddafi, and Greece is known to have quite close links with Libya, commercially especially. Now, it is also being reported that Papandreou has also given some suggestions to Gaddafi how to solve the issues he is facing at the moment. Now, this diplomatic blitz, as it appears to be, may be a suggestion coming from the Greek side, which on the whole is a diplomatic is all about how diplomacy is worked out, and perhaps Gaddafi is taking this suggestion and is actually implemented it the first thing in the morning.
Okay, Carl, that's interesting stuff. Thanks for that update. Carl Stanya Navarra there. Now let's move on. A Tunisian court has dissolved the political party of ousted President Zine El Abidine Ben Ali. The Constitutional Democratic Rally, or the RCD, was suspended last month pending the court's ruling. Ben Ali used the party as a way to maintain power during almost 2 decades as leader. Nazni Mashiri reports from Tunis.
Celebrations outside a Tunis courthouse. This is the moment many have been waiting for. The RCD, which ruled with the former president Ben Ali for 23 years, no longer exists.
This is an extraordinary end to a party that once had a membership of more than 2 million people. These people say they no longer want to be associated with the remnants of Tunisia's past regime.
In the past week, the country has gone further than Egypt to rid itself of an apparatus linked to decades of repression, dismantling the nation's political police and preparing to rewrite the constitution.
Today is a new era, a new country, a new page in our history, in our democracy, in our everything. Today we are building our heritage, our culture, our life. Today, the people, they say no, no, no.
Mohamed Ghariani is the highest-ranking member of this now dissolved party. He accepts the decision and for the first time makes this admission.
I apologize for all the bad things people from the RCD have done towards any citizens, any Tunisian man or woman, and I invite people to open a new page to former RCD members.
But there are members of this once powerful institution who won't give up so easily. One lawyer told me only the RCD can protect Tunisia from what he calls the Islamist threat.
What is left for the Tunisians? Ennahda, the Islamist party, has the offices which are the mosques. It has the Islamic rhetoric, which Tunisians accept easily. And now there is a political vacuum.